Thank you for joining me. This will be my thoughts on Helstrom, Season 1, Episode 10, Hellstorm. The episode is rated TVMA, so will this video be? There will be spoilers for everything leading up to and including this episode that is Marvel, MCU, or adjacent. And, yeah. Absolutely love the fucking episode, just as with all the ones leading up to it. So, I did want to mention, I can't believe I forgot to, but yeah, last episode, I think it was, pretty sure it was the episode before this one, ended on the, let's see if I can get this song title right. Sunshine, Lollipops, maybe that is just what it's called. Yeah, something along those lines. In addition to other kinds of gore, the show also had Leslie. And yeah, in both this episode and the one before it, we really have this thing of, it only become more relevant with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Yeah, it's extremely important for women to have bodily autonomy rights. And yeah, I thought they did a really great job because we go through various, Gabby considers abortion. Some other people are telling her she has to have the baby. Um, and it's clearly extremely painful for her to have it. And, those tears after, let's see, we need a name for baby Cathara. Bara. Once Bara is born, yeah, she's sad and she feels violated. That, and she even uses that. She doesn't say raped, but she says violated. Um, yeah, I think that. Yeah. So I thought this was a really solid finale. It is one of those things where it's too bad that like clearly they wanted at least one more season. And that is one hell of a tease there at the end for yeah. Let's see. I think but yeah, I felt like it did a solid job of what's the word, like concluding the various plot lines and such, and the um, yeah, the let's go over. So by the end of this episode, by the end of the season, we've seen a lot of growth. Finally, yeah, the two siblings are able to both say "I love you" to each other. That was such a great, we thought she was gonna Han Solo him there, but she was just teasing him, um, and she even calls him older brother. When earlier she'd been trying to avoid them, her family in general, understandably so. But it's great to see the character growth. Um, yeah, Victoria, like back to, because like it's one of those things. Obviously, it's important to underline. Not every woman wants to be a homemaker, um, but also some do. The show hasn't said that there was something inherently wrong with Anna having a job. It was the fact that she was avoiding Damon. That was what needed to change. Um, and we also like Dr. H, also a good character, has a job, isn't a homemaker, so but yeah, Victoria did like being a homemaker. She liked taking care of her kids, and now she's cooking for them again. um and yeah, Dr. H, they removed, they took one of your lungs, the bad one, great, kind of, yeah. um Yen becoming a keeper. That is of all the things that we would have seen more of in a second season, I wish we got more time with Keeper Yen, because that was really, really compelling. Like, we got a little bit in this episode, but yeah, that could have been very, very compelling. And that's also, we never had an alive Keeper in the entire show before this finale. We were only told about ones who had died long ago. And it makes perfect sense, that he would become a keeper, because he was bitten by one and under the influence of one for a little while. So yeah, of course that's yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Taker going more attached. Like in an earlier episode, we had the line about, oh, whenever you need him, he's never there. And then in this episode, he waits at Dr. H's bedside, which is also just one of those things. Like, if anybody watching this video needs to hear it, if someone is waking up in a hospital bed, it makes a world of difference if there's a loved one there to yeah, at their side. Yeah, Gabriella, I did not foresee her becoming part of the Blood, but it feels credible, and it's such a bittersweet ending to the whole, will they, won't they, yeah, and I think that does cover, yeah, I think, and I, it definitely is positioned as, not a great thing. Like, there was a little bit of an uneasy alliance between Gabby and the Blood for some of the finale here, but overall, it wasn't really the thing that, what's the word? We weren't, let's see. It didn't seem like she would join them until the end there. But the, shit, lost my train of thought. Let's see. Yeah, like, I mean, she was raped and then forced to give birth to a baby she considers evil. It's very understandable that she would come out of that doing something that, um, might not be the best for her or anyone it affects. Yeah, it's too bad that we don't. That's also something a second season would have been really compelling to see, because I feel like there would have been conversations where, if she attacks Damon, he might use telekinesis to prevent her from, I don't know, sinking in the knife or whatever it is, and he'll say, I understand that what you went through was traumatic, but, we see there's a little bit. He offers a little bit of pushback when she comes to in the bed. Let's see. And that's again a thing. There's too much media that just says, oh, well, if a woman has been raped, everything will be solved if someone kills the rapist. And for a while it would always be a man, and then so there's some where it's a woman who cares about the rape survivor, and sometimes it's the rape survivor herself. And like, I'm not gonna claim, like, obviously if you are a rape survivor, or you know someone personally and you feel catharsis from media like that, I'm not saying you're wrong for that, but we know, like, research has been done, and it is, yeah, rape survivors will sometimes make mistakes um, shortly after um, the rape, and they need a lot of help. They need people around them who can guide them in the right direction, listening to them, obviously, but um, not encouraging them to do something bad. And we're seeing her with the blood. They are encouraging. Like, we even have, she has what I guess is her first drink of alcohol, or so, or something along those lines. Um, I think, yeah. Anna goes from being someone who, at least pretends to only care about herself, to actually being willing to, you know, feel all the pain that's connected to that knife, in order to save Damon. And also trusting Victoria. Like, remember how her first line in, like, at the, let's say, I think it was at the end of the first episode, her very first line about Victoria was, "Please tell me she is dead." Um, and yeah, she used another word than she. Does that cover everyone? Um, I feel like that pretty well covers every major. Yeah, I think that might. Yeah, and Kathara. There at the very end, she, like, that it's 1 month later, and she, yeah, she is growing much faster than a human baby, which, you know, um, I forget if did we already know that on this show? I forget, but it's certainly something I've heard of from other media that deals with, like, demons and such. But yeah, let's see. Yes, so she's actually just a kid. She wants ice cream, and is really, really happy when she's promised ice cream. But then Papa, who loves hearing that word, comes, and, you know, yeah, the what's the word? Uh, yeah, he reminds her who she is. And it's one of those things where I think a second season would have had them fighting over if Kathara could, because, like, okay, she goes with him there at the end, but that's like, okay, uncle versus father. you know a lot of kids would choose to go with their dad, but um I could see, again, some heartfelt, teary, pleas to, there is good in you, I know it, kind of thing. Yeah. Yes, scene by scene it is. So I thought they did a really great job on, when we last saw Gabby, let's see, Raum got the knife from her with telekinesis, and it looked like, oh, he's gonna, get her. And then in this episode, he does ultimately get her pretty quickly, but PDQ. But before that, there is a struggle over the, yeah, um, and yeah, the fact that, like, Finn wakes up pretty quickly as well, and yeah, there's only so much they can do against telekinesis. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, Taker shows up, and let's see. We have the let's see, yeah, telekinesis toss is gonna stab him with the fire poker, and Louise jumps. She does the Secret Service dive, and I will say it's almost too bad that she spends so much of the episode in a hospital bed, but she has been an active character up to this point, and there are so many such active characters in play in this episode. I can't claim that I think there was really room for her to do or say much of anything with all of that. So let's see. And the thing about, welcome back and the music and, yeah, she's back where she was, where she escaped from. And it's one of those things. So I read all of I read a bunch. Yeah, okay. Yes, I read a bunch of reviews from both critics and users, and I saw some between watching this penultimate episode and this one, and I did see that some said that these last two episodes they felt like they kind of it didn't really they didn't really work for at least one user reviewer, and I mean I guess I can kind of see why it does have um it's that thing of like the it's like the Netflix Marvel shows or Marvel Netflix Defenders, um there's just a few too many episodes to a season. They don't quite have enough story for all of it, and so yeah, we do have like she spends some time with them, she manages to escape, and she gets recaptured. I do think that this does a really great job of making sure that the character stuff is so compelling that it doesn't feel like we're just going in circles, which I've said it before, I'll say it again. Other than, let's see, Iron Fist Season 2 and the one season of Defenders we got, other than those two, I found there to be some bad pacing in every single season of the Defenders verse. There was always sometimes it would be an entire episode where I'm like, we don't need this. It's there because they asked for the amount of episode. Let's say I think it's 13 was the standard, and then for let's see, I think Iron Fist season 2 is 8 and Defenders is 10, or maybe it's the other way around, but something like that. And both of those I couldn't really find any fault in the pacing. I know some others have, and I respect that. Um, but yeah, I do think this fares better. Um, let's see. I think that might. Yeah, with Gabby, I really appreciate it. There was a little bit where I was a little worried. Are they gonna have her spend nearly her entire screen time this episode just giving birth in a bathtub? Which, like, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with giving birth in real life, and some pieces of media do, uh, get a lot out of showing it, and I do think this one did. It's just, again, she's such an active character up to this point, but she does also get to verbally try to get to Damon, and yes, ultimately that doesn't work, but it changes her character. Um, yeah, I think what's the next thing? Maybe the part where they say, Dr. H's condition is critical. Let's see. Yeah, she's they had to revive her twice or something like that, and the next 12 hours is critical. And then we see Taker sitting there, and it's like, oh, thank God, she did wake up. Yes. Yen, saying, Taker, I need your help. And Taker's like, oh, right. You know, I'm here now. Yeah, it's very, very clever. We don't actually see the phone conversation end, but we see Taker run in and, you know, when they end up managing to take Gabby. And let's see, um, his brief thing with Finn was also quite good. But yeah, let's see. We have the what's the word? We have um, yeah. So phone conversation. We don't see the end of it, but he runs in, and so we can deduce. Oh, right. He must have told Yen, listen, I want to help you. Uh, we'll talk soon, but I have to go help Gabby. And the yeah so Yen starts to explain. He's like, I have something stuck in my throat. I have an eyeball stuck in my throat. I can see my lunch as I'm eating it, and that bugs me. I'm seriously concerned that Sam Raimi is going to sue, because this feels like something that belongs in Evil Dead. And Taker manages to, he knows, you're becoming a keeper. I am nobody's keeper. Even in such a absurd situation, he manages to come up with a clever remark. Love it. Another thing I love, it's been several episodes since Anna last killed someone. For a while it seemed like, she feels like she has to kill. And then, the let's see, there's the thing, yeah, she thinks, oh, she has to kill their father, and then it turns out that wasn't him. And yeah, now it's been several episodes. She hasn't like run off to try to kill someone, as she would have before. And yeah, it is, of course. I think I may have said it in maybe it was on an earlier episode, but yeah, she doesn't need to kill; she needs to heal. And it's it hurts. Healing hurts. But she has people around her to support her, and she makes the active decision that she's going to accept healing, and that's why it works. She's much happier there at the end. She's like the bit where she pours out the tortilla chips, I think it is. God, I used to love those. I haven't had them in ages. But I'm pretty sure that's what those are. She takes one, dips it, takes a bite, and what did she say to Victoria? Maybe it's not all bad, or something like that. And then they do, like a mother-daughter, like, little, yeah, just very, very sweet. She would never have done that at the like, holy shit. At the start of the season, she wouldn't have been caught dead doing something like that. And certainly she would never have been okay with Yen finding out about it. Yeah, I think that pretty well covers that entire... Right, yeah. So, and the, let's see. And it is also, they needed a keeper. They wouldn't have been able to win here at the end if not for him becoming a keeper. And I feel like, that's what happened there. That's, the fact that they needed a keeper meant that, like, it was dormant in him until they needed him. because like there were some hours there where nothing happened. It's not like he, you know, left the um, St. Teresa's and immediately this happened or something. Um, yeah, I think that covers the. So the yeah, I really appreciate Gabby. So first she says, Damon, I know you're in there. You can stop this. And then when that doesn't work, she goes, you really think this is going to work out for you, you pathetic demon piece of shit. Like, those are not her exact words, but, had to clean it down, clean it up a little. Why don't we say clean down? It's clean up. Like, it's not. Anyway. I don't know, I just feel like a lot of cleaning is done on, like, what's that word again? Horizontal surfaces. So, cleaning down, whatever. And, ultimately, it doesn't really work, but, yeah, as mentioned, it changes her character and shows, she keeps fighting it. I think, does that pretty well bring us to the, the great when Bayman joins Raum um, and Finn, and he Bazar is like the favorite child, so he and the strongest, so he just picks up one of the others by the throat. Holy shit. I think. Oh shit! Right, they don't. God damn it! They don't get her. She leaves on her own accord. That's right. Because everyone, there's too many of the, because Anna shows up too. That's right. So they have to leave without Gabby, the two of them, and then, Bayman gets very cross with them. And then there's the bit at the church. That was also such a great the thing about, okay, so she, yeah, the blood solution is putting a baby in an eternal coma, which, like, yeah, they got there. They topped. I think that might be the most fucked up thing. Certainly, it is a new fucked up thing, and it fits coming so late in the season. Jesus Christ. Do you think they had like a board of ideas for fucked up things to put in season 2? If you do, drop a comment down below. Let me know, what do you think? What fucked up thing would they have had in season 2? Because I do think a lot of these would be extremely difficult to top. Right. Also, I'm not sure if I did a good enough job exploring, like, yeah, like the thing with so Gabby confesses, literally, to having lustful thoughts about Damon. And yeah, like, it genuinely looks like they are going to, like, I mean, yeah, they would if he, like, but he goes to take a shower, and yeah, if he hadn't done that, they probably would have ended up having sex. And yeah, ultimately, instead she gets possessed by Cathara, and yeah. Well, let's see. In this episode, she says that Damon violated, or Bayman, yeah, Bazar violated her. And it is like, yeah, there's violation on both. And yeah, that's such a wonderfully fucked up way to resolve the sexual tension between the two of them. They almost have sex, and then instead both of them get possessed by demons, yeah, rape each other, and she ends up having to carry it to term. Like, it's, yeah. the Jesus Christ, it kind of is what, like, there's a lot of conservative Christians who would say, that should be sex ed. What's that? I'm not sure what it's from, but there's a clip every so often it'll pop up in a YouTube video when it's relevant. Never have sex. If you have sex, you will become pregnant and die. Um, let's see. Yeah, I think. And then they wonder why some women don't want to have sex once they're married. I don't know. Maybe they don't wonder. Maybe they just don't give a shit. So let's see. I think what's the other thing? Yeah. So in the church, the yeah, the father shows up, and I thought they did a really good job because, like, it's this thing of, like, Gabby doesn't know how much she can trust him anymore. Is that how she got in touch with the Blood? Because she told him, I know you work for the Blood, so get me a meeting with Esther. Dear Esther. And he says, there will be no blood spilt in this church. That's where he, you know, draws the line. He'll work with them, but if any of the blood spill anything, they are to leave immediately. And yeah, the three amigos, I mean demons, show up, and the fact that it's an active choice, because, like, it's one of those things, like, the story kind of needs her to end up giving birth, but yeah, the fact that she it's her own decision, because and she specifically says no one will die today for me, and I'm glad she added the for me. That's doing a lot of heavy lifting, because I'm like, I don't know how to tell you, but people do die every day. That's I don't think anybody in that room has the power to stop all of them. But yeah, she goes with, which is also, then there at the end she joins the Blood, and we do know that sometimes, if it is deemed necessary, the Blood do, let's see, do they kill people, or do they put people in comas and they'll carve up Taker, even though he used to be one of them. I forget if they do, if we've seen them kill. I mean, we were told that Finn did some fucked up shit, and he got to join, so, certainly it is, yeah, the experience changed her. I think, does that pretty well bring us to the, so yeah, Yen saying, you have to, put the two pieces of the knife back together. It's going to take blood and fire, not just any kind of fire, your fire. And Anna's like, I'm sorry, time out. What? You just know this. You've been a keeper for like 2 seconds. And he's like, keeper's intuition. But yeah. And so they go into the room, and then he leaves, and he says, I'm gonna go because I don't want to be in the room in case it burns down, which could happen. Thanks for the vote of confidence, buddy. And yeah, let's see. So the Helstrom women both hold on to the knife, and she uses the fire, and she feels all the pain. That was also in at least one user review. Someone, was it professional? Whatever. Someone said they felt the clips were overused, the flashback clips. Yeah, I don't really agree. I feel like every time it has a strong emotional impact. And I'm usually like, listen, I definitely think it was overused in the first Hunger Games movies, for example. But the oh right, shit, I completely forgot so yeah, the first scene is the flashback. 20 years ago, he jumps off the bridge, and telekinesis stops him from um, at first, but then he goes under. And well, let's see, is it one of those things where the distance would have killed him if he hadn't been slowed down like that? I can never remember about those such things. Um, but yeah, ultimately all he got was wet. And then at the end, he sees himself back there, and yeah, it's like he's come so far. Um, I think does that? Yes. And the thing about I don't have fire. Damon has fire. You can do everything your brother can. Wonderful. Just yeah, we need more parents to encourage their kids, including when the kids are adults, that they can do more than they think they can. Um, okay, I know I quoted the following in a relatively recent video. Was that a month ago? That might have been a little while ago, so it bears repeating. My grandfather used to say, and I'm not 100% certain if he came up with it or he just came across it and loved it, but there's nothing you can't do. There's no shit. Okay, we're gonna have to. I'm starting over. There's nothing you can do if you've fully committed yourself to the idea that you can't. And other than just being funny and clever, that is absolutely true. I think that does. Yes, we are. Shit. Where are we? We are at the. Um, Come to think of it, had Roe v. Wade already been overturned, god damn it, I can never remember the dates of these things. I forget if it had been overturned in let's see, October 16th, 2020. Anyway, they didn't, we're moving on. But yeah, she forges it in fire, hellfire, and yeah, the, let's see, I think does that pretty well bring us to the, yeah, I think that brings us to the, she goes to, confront. Great. Like, having some of the fighting here at the end actually take place in like, it's actually like the god damn it, what's it called again? Like a haunted house kind of thing, the shit. That's not. Is that the term? One of those. It's like an amusement park with like yeah, so like shit jumps out at her even without telekinesis some of the time. Wonderfully creepy setting for this last bit, and yeah, love the struggling over who has the dagger with telekinesis, and this thing of like he manages to get the what's the word, um, the thing, he knocks over some shelves to make sure to get the dagger, and the conversation between them over the course of that was also great. And yeah, she manages to, oh right, and the fact that yeah, he ended up in the morgue after all of the the struggling between them at the end of the episode before this one, and the thing about, um, yeah, Anna just knows that he's, um, still alive, and thankfully he didn't kill. He beat the shit out of that guy to draw a lot of blood, but he was still alive. So Damon hasn't killed anyone. That is because it would eat him up if he did. Yeah. They struggle over it, and at one point he comes to the surface and he says, let's see, did he say kill me or do it or something along those lines. And yeah, she manages to stab and pull the bizarre part out. And great, very cool design. Still not the best. Like, it's supposed to look like fire, and fire is one of those things, we've all seen it. Um, we can see when it doesn't look quite right. I don't know. I mean, it's not quite earthly fire. Maybe we can give it a little bit of a pass there, but yeah, that is also something I do. That I saw some reviews say, "Oh, the effects are amazing," which not always. Sometimes. Now, I think, does that bring us to the? Let's see. We have the. Yeah, the. Let's see. So yeah, the they also remove the demons from the other, you know yeah, the other two, and they're able to save, uh, to rescue Gabby and Bara. Right. I also really appreciated the bit where the conversation about the yeah the Victoria and Anna talking about, and Victoria says, the worst moment of her life was when she witnessed her husband abusing their daughter. And, Anna says, worse than having a demon stuck in your head for 20 years? Not even close. Just, yeah. And I hear that is true for um, many, many parents. The worst thing they could possibly imagine. Um, yeah. And that's, again, I don't know, maybe I talk too much about. It's just, right now, a lot of the worst things I hear about are done by misogynists to women. And I've noticed that there are a number of misogynists who will say, "Oh, he doesn't even get to spend time with his own child." And a lot of the time, what they don't mention, I'm not saying that's always the case, but a lot of the time it's because, well, he hurt maybe the child, maybe the mother. Yeah, like, you have to do a lot of work before you're ever, again, it's not up to me. I'm saying what I have heard from women who have experienced that. Not person to person. I've watched YouTube videos, but yeah, you have to do so much to earn back that trust, if it is even possible. And yeah, it is not wrong for that. A number of misogynistic men will say, "Oh, women will kidnap their own children." Yeah, a lot of the time, not always. I think, wasn't there at least one QAnon? What do they call them? QAnon mom, who kidnapped her own children because she thought her husband was, one of the satanic pedophiles. So that's obviously wrong. But a bunch of the time, when a woman kidnaps her own kid or kids, it's because the father is hurting them and she doesn't see any other way to protect them. Or hurting her, and she has to get out of that, and she does, yeah, she won't let the children be, which I'm also not saying, God damn it, it's so complicated. Conservatives have made it almost impossible. You have to do so much legwork to make sure that you're not perceived as one of these motherfuckers. I am not saying that there's anything wrong with a woman leaving her abusive partner and not taking the kids with, because a lot of the time it's simply because she is unable to, no matter what she does. Now, yes, I think that does cover the, let's see. But yeah, it's a really solid, like the action here at the end, tension, suspense, and action, really, really great. At first I thought that there was going to be like a big fight between Blood and Possessed in the church, and then it ended up being instead this more intimate, which is also great because, like, yeah, Damon and Anna badly want to save Gabby. They've spent the entire season with her, 10 episodes by now, and the let's see, shit, I forget about Raum, but certainly Finn was Blood, so it's, the okay, obviously there would be emotion involved if we saw other Blood having to beat, maybe even kill him if they couldn't, exercise, which you should. It's very important to keep in shape. But, like, we don't know that many of the remaining Blood. Like, Esther is pretty much the only one. I mean, Taker isn't Blood anymore, I don't think. So it would just be a bunch of red shirts going up against, yeah. And I think that pretty well covers, right, and also the fact that as soon as she removed the bizarre part on the blade, it turn to ash, so it's clear that, okay, this is the permanent solution. Damon's exercising means that they're still around. They'll come back stronger, someone in the Blood says. Killing the person just means that the demon immediately moves on to someone else. It needs to be someone marked, yes, but it's still not, but this is the permanent solution to that, which I guess means it's not impossible that they would have to have, like, if they had made season 2, would there have to be, like, would Damon be going around to Blood facilities and either trying to convince them or just straight up doing, like, yeah, stabbing and pulling demons out? Yeah, I'm not sure. No, I'm sure at this point, well, let's see. I mean, Taker, no, he doesn't know the local ones, does he? He would only know about the one because he was told by Esther about that particular local one, and that was shut down, so he probably wouldn't be able to help Damon, and probably the other Blood. Well, I guess it could be maybe some Blood would join him, and try to help him with that, and Esther and Gabby go against him. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, the fact that Gabby barely responds. She's still just repeating the Lord's Prayer, I think it's called. Give us today our daily bread. But yeah, and when she wakes, when she's in the hospital bed, she says she keeps insisting the baby is evil, and she says, you weren't there. I called for you and you didn't, you let me down. You and your kind. Because, like, yeah, she, like the Blood, she has that black and white thinking now. She thinks if you are, even part demon, even if it was accident of birth, you are not to be trusted. And yeah, it would have been really cool. Season 2 of, like, you know, the Blood wanting to kill baby Hitler, especially now that she's back with, yeah, Dad. And the Helstrom family, 3 Hellstroms and a baby. I did think there was gonna, before they did the month skip ahead, I wondered if any of season 2 would be 3 Hellstroms and a baby, but the 3 Hellstroms, saying, no, we can reach baby Hitler. And again, like, I think there's a case. I think it could have been a really compelling, like, back and forth, because, like, yeah, she's kind of just a kid. She just also has these memories. Um, yeah, could have been what could have been. But the and Gabby in black. Was it even leather? Maybe. So now she's, I saw one of the reviews call it a good girl, bad boy, will they, won't they, and now she's a bad girl. And I gotta say, at the start of this season, I would not have bought it, but they had her harden over the course of this, and the actress pulls it off. It's also the way she carries herself. I've seen some actors who can do great job playing either evil or good, but not both. And this is an actress who has to play both, and she nails it. Um, it's the kind of thing, like, because it would elicit chuckles if it, the involuntary physical response. I mean, not the clown. If that scene did not play as intended. But we're just sitting there thinking, no, oh no. So really good job on that. Yeah, the family dinner was just wonderful. I also really liked the turn of, the thing about, you were in surgery. I wasn't sure how okay you were going to be. Well, they, what was it? They patched up your liver. They, what was it? Did they remove one of her kidneys and one of her lungs? God, now I want to eat something. And then he adds the bad one, so she's not going to die from lung cancer anymore. She is going to have to take it easy, and I do appreciate them acknowledging, she's going to need, a, a wheelchair for at least some time, with having lost so much. But yeah, that was also because, like, they're talking about, I don't know, we had to revive her twice during the next 12 hours of critical, and then we find out, oh, they removed the cancer. Jesus Christ, emotional roller coaster much. Yeah, and right, and Anna also telling Victoria, the what's the word? About, he tried to, after he tried to set me on fire. And the thing, the fact that, well, we're special. Special? That's how Dad always phrased it. After all this time, 20 years later, she still doesn't have other vocabulary for it, and that's, again, such a horrifying thing about, that is something I've heard of from, again, via YouTube and such. Yeah, people who survive abuse, they continue using the words, shit. I feel like at least one of them, it was that, her father said she was a mistake. She shouldn't have been born. And, like, yeah, years down the line, when she would feel down on herself, that was what she was thinking. I am a mistake. The words of the abuser hold so much power over the abused. So I really appreciate them acknowledging that, and Victoria finding out that, Anna was buried alive. Yeah. Let's see. I think, does that bring us to? Oh, right. And the thing about the Yen thinks you can win back Derek. I think he's overrated, but okay. And that is also like, yeah, I can imagine, because he still can't tell him shit. So it's just he's just disappearing for hours, maybe days, and not telling, just saying trust me. I can understand Derek saying, and he did also, he said we're through if this doesn't. Yeah. Let's see. I guess that, yeah, they were through there for a little while, but then he tried winning him back, and it's unclear if he did succeed because Derek isn't there at the very end. But that would also, if they were going to have a second season where Derek still doesn't know, at least at first, and it's one of those things like, can they, KPF, can they trust him? Because if they can't, who is he going to tell, and what are they going to have? That could actually have been interesting if he discovers it by accident and then they have to try desperately to prevent too many people from finding out. Holy shit, that's not, is that the blood? Or maybe someone, I could imagine there might be another secret society that, like, you know, disappears people who find out too much about the supernatural, because then the evil is more likely to win than good. So yeah, I think that could also have been a plot line there. Let's see. I think that does more or less cover everything. So yeah, I guess I'll just briefly note. So I have to admit I had forgotten, but yeah, I read the reviews after watching the penultimate episode before watching this one, obviously. I don't know why I said before. Fuck it. Yes, yeah, I completely forgotten, but I did read before starting, but way, like, shit, over a year ago, I guess. I did read that in the comics, her name isn't Anna, it's Satana, and she's a succubus, and she's apparently more often than not, or at least half of the time, a villain, or maybe like an anti-hero kind of. Well, I guess they're both anti-heroes in this show, but like, she, what I read was that someone wrote that in the comics she gets in her brother's way a lot of the time. And I get why they did that in the comic. And it's one of those things, like, the fact that succubus is thought of as so much worse than, like, incubus, the demon that rapes and impregnates women. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, Jesus Christ. Patriarchy and misogyny in full force. Like, yeah. But basically, instead of her being a succubus, she has a lot of casual sex. That's a good way to tone it down enough. And I don't necessarily, I think hypothetically there's probably compelling stories to be told with succubi, plural of succubus, because it's Latin. Yeah, sometimes I know shit that's completely pointless and useless, whatever. My dad insisted I learn a lot of Latin. Yes, and I'm glad for a lot of it. Anyway, god damn it. Digressions. Yes, where do we land on that? We got to the, yes. I don't think this story would have been better by her being a succubus. I appreciate, listen, I used to be purist myself. I try not to be these days and just like go with, well, did they change it to something that's equally as good or better? I mean, the fact that I wish that Thor Ragnarok, I don't think it had to like be word for word adaptation of Planet Hulk, but the fact that they changed it to something so much less interesting, at least in my opinion, um, yeah, you know, but that's not me being just a purist. That's me saying, well, I think in this case, I've made my point. And to be clear, it is absolutely not the fact that there's so much. I understand that bisexuals and maybe in general the LGBT plus community absolutely love the movie, and it certainly is. Like I see at least some of it quite clearly, even though I'm not a member of the community. I just try to be an ally as much as I can. It's absolutely not that. I am so happy that they have that movie and that it's as good as it is, because it is a really solid movie. Yeah. Let's see. The movie helps disprove this notion that, um, yeah, some people think that the media made by the community or for it, I'm actually not entirely sure. Is Taika Waititi a member of the community? I'm gonna move on. That such media is just automatically not as good as like stuff that is cishet, and yeah, I think it's important to have examples when we point to, because obviously it's a ridiculous statement, but sadly there are some bigots out there who believe that kind of shit. But I think that does pretty well. So yeah. Um, let's see. I did also, okay, one more critical review. One person said that they didn't think the story had enough stakes. Another one said they didn't think it was ever scary, which, like, okay, I do not want to be alone with you in a dark alley if you think nothing in this show is scary. Jesus fucking Christ. But I'm sorry, they literally said like that. Even before the season 2 tease at the end of this episode, like in this episode, they spell out like, listen, if let's see, shit, if Cathara is born and grows to full size, demons will rule Earth. Like, I'm sorry, that's not enough stakes for you. Like, does it need to be the entire universe before you care? Like, what are you even? I don't know. Some of this shit, I don't know if they even watched that much, because I don't know. I mean, I guess at the very start it's mostly emotional stakes. It's once you realize that Cathara is coming back, that's when like it becomes more stakey. But yeah, we spend the first chunk of the season thinking that their serial killer father is coming back, but it appears that he genuinely was, he was destroyed permanently, I guess. She said that she watched him burn. That's all right, because he likes the way it hurts. Um, but yeah, so we think that, and that's such a great way to set the story into motion. Then we realize, oh, Cathara was actually the mastermind, and yeah, like she knew if she makes it seem like, oh no, Victoria is going to die, then Damon is going to jump into action, and she can manipulate the situation sufficiently that she can escape or be freed. Yeah, and oh wait, was the Keeper's skull? Did she think that the Keeper's skull would remain in the in the crypt. I'm still slightly unsure about that because like Cathara herself was weakened by it and was no, yeah, that has to have been accidental. Um, but yeah, the let's see, yeah, there at the end, you know. Well, I guess I can't call her baby Cathara because she's, let's see, kid Cathara. So Kithara. You know, yeah, she goes with dear old dad, and it's yeah. I mean, okay, I don't know, maybe I'm misinterpreting, but is that supposed to be the devil then? Because isn't he father of all demons? I feel like I've heard that. It's been so long since I looked at this, and I'd look it up, but my wrists are fucked right now. But uh, yeah, I think shit. What was the other thing? Yeah, that is a really cool tease for a second season. Um, and also yeah, the fact that yeah, you know, says you know, Cathar is not your real name. Do you remember your real name? Think hard. Lily. So I'm fairly confident that's Lilith. Yeah, that would have been really fucking cool. Um, they might have been able to present a um, oh right, I did want to just briefly note the thing about, you know, how are you gonna convince me to let you leave with her? You can't do a thing to me, Hardigan, because I'm the keeper. And then he starts making, you know, Papa starts making people drop dead until Yen relents. And then he kills one more just to fucking be petty about it. Jesus Christ. But yeah, that's so he's extremely powerful. Um, even if I'm misinterpreting it, maybe it isn't Satan, but maybe it's just an extremely powerful demon. And yeah, uh, he can't hurt a keeper, but it's still. And I can imagine maybe he wouldn't be able to make Damon or Anna drop dead since they're half demon, but it's, you know, he's still extremely powerful, and I can imagine like I feel like it's probably not just going to be you know, or just it's not going to be, you know, get the dagger into him. They might have to find a whole new solution, and then, you know, maybe there's some like studying to find out how do we even stop, you know, Papa, um, who's got a brand new bag. So yeah, just some really great, um, yeah, um, and the actor also does a phenomenal job there. Um, yeah, I think that is everything that requires spoilers to discuss. Yeah, I gotta say, I really love the show. I kept waiting for it to get bad. Like, it's, you know, some people really don't think very highly of this show. I don't know. I mean, if you're one of them, please drop a comment down below. You know, um, try to sway me. I'm not promising that I'll necessarily change my mind, but I'm interested in hearing it. What I read was not particularly convincing to me. Um, yeah, uh, but yeah. So very cool. If that's, you know, it's too bad we won't get to see a season 2 of like, yeah, Lilith. Because I that is a really cool place to go with the yeah. And I think, based on this season, that a second season could have delivered a Lilith to rival the one from Bordello of Blood.